Grace and peace, grace and peace. Grace and peace, grace and peace. Rev C here, giving YouTube time to send out the notification. So we're going to be looking at the verbal system, the Greek verbal system, an overview. We're going to get deeper into it, but right now we're going to look at the verbal aspect. The verbal side of things right now. So go ahead, hit the like button, share, subscribe, let people know we're on. Hey, grace and peace. Grace and peace. Welcome. Overseas, our overseas sister there. Grace and peace. So, we are going to be looking at verbs in the Greek. So, let's get started. What is a verb? Now, some of this may seem basic, it may seem elementary, but you have to get this down if you're going to understand Greek. You have to understand English grammar in order to understand Greek grammar because the concepts transfer over. A verb in Greek is a verb in English. A noun in English is a noun in Greek. So, what is a verb? What is a verb? A verb, what is a verb? A verb is a word describing an action or, of course, a state of being. And then this is, if you're in our Greek class and things like that, learn how to learn to read New Testament Greek by David Allen Black. We are, most of this information right here can be found in chapter 2. So we're looking at chapter 2 of the book. So again, what is a verb? Sing, learn, eat, run, jump. Those are types of verb. Those are verbs. Verb, again, makes a statement about a subject or transfers an action from the subject to an object. So you're going to hear finite verb. What is a finite verb? or a transitive verb. These are verbs that take a direct object. So, like hit, John hit. John hit what? And so, what you would put here in the blank would be your direct object. So, John hit the ball. John hit the man. And so, this direct object would be in the accusative case, which we'll get to later as well. It'll be in the accusative case. So Greek is a very highly, we say highly inflected language. Now, I recommend that you understand, you grasp this word inflection. Greek is a highly inflected language. Inflection just means to bend. So inflected words are bent. So inflection just simply means to bend. So they are altered from their form. So it changed from the simplest form. So it'll change the stem, or it'll add on suffixes and or suffixes or prefixes. So what is inflection? Inflection refers to the changes that a word undergoes that reflects their grammatical function in the sentence. So inflection is changes, uh, refers to the changes in form based on the role. Based on the role. So a verb makes a statement about a subject, right? So I am an apostle. Or it could transfer action to an object. I see an apostle. So I see something, and that something that I see would be the will be the direct object. So I hope that's making sense so far. Hope that's making sense. Hit one. If you have a question, drop a question in there. If you have a question or anything. So what we have is, well, let me see if I have it on the next slide. Yes. So in Greek, your word is going to break into a stem, which has the lexical meaning, or an affix, which we know, suffix or a prefix. So let's use the word luo. Luo. This is what's called the first person. This is how you would find it in the dictionary or the lexicon. Your stem is, how do you find your stem? You're going to cut off the ending. And we'll learn the endings here in a second in later lessons. This is what's called an ending. This is your person number suffix. This is the stem. Lu is the stem. This is where your definition comes from, which means to loose or to untie. That's just a basic gloss of meaning. So words break down into stem, and then your endings or your suffixes or effixes or things like that. So now if we look at first person, so let's say we do that's terrible. Hang on. We can do The example that he has in the book. Echo. Echo is I have. Echo. Ekes. Eke. First person, I. Second person, you. Third person, he, she, or it. So I, you, he, he, she, and it. That's first person singular. Plural. Ekomen. Ekamen. Ekamen. Ekate. Ekusen. We, you plural or y'all, they. And so notice so notice here's your stem. You cut off the endings. These are your endings or your affixes. And then you're left with your stem. Same over here. Your stem is ek. These are the affixes here. So I have, you have, he, she, or it has, we have, y'all have, they have. Does that make sense for everyone there? Again, hit the share button, like, subscribe, and if you want to support the ministry, drop $1 or two in the Cash App there. Now, all right. So yeah, we talked about that. Okay, so then this is just an overview, and we're going to go deeper in the next lesson on this as well. We're going to look at the connecting vowels and things like that. So I just want to get you to see it. This is what's called a paradigm. I just want y'all guys to see this. This is called a paradigm. Paradigm just means a pattern. So notice in bold, that's your stem. L, lu. And then here's your endings. Lu o, lu ace, lu a, lu amen, lu ete, lu usen. And so right there, you know with this, you know the first person endings of all the Greek verbs. The present tense endings of all the Greek verbs so far. Now, when we get into the verbs, there are 6 properties of the Greek verb. 6 properties. And so this is you're going to conjugate. When you conjugate a verb, this is what we'll be looking for. We're going to look for tense, mood. That's a spelling error there. Tense, mood, voice, person, number, and then the lexical form. So those are the 6 properties of a Greek verb. Mood. Mood. The mood is how the speaker. Now, this is important because this is coming from the writer or the speaker. How the speaker sees reality. How the speaker relates the verbal idea to reality. So, when you start with indicative. So, when we'll go over these more right now, the first couple of chapters, we're only going to be focusing on the indicative mood, and the others will come later. Indicative mood is reality. It refers to reality, how true something is, factual. Imperative is a command. Subjunctive is contingency or possibility. Contingency or possibility. Optative, this is a polite request or a prayer. And then the infinitive, which is it expresses a verbal idea without specifying person or number. So you'll see to pray or something like that. So it'll add to in front of it. Usually when you do your translation in your translation work. So mood, how the speaker relates to reality. So like let's say we were looking at luo, and I said, conjugate this verb. We know that this is a first person, present, active, indicative, luo, to lose. So, yeah, so we did luo. Luo is present tense, active, indicative, first person singular, and then the lexical form is luo. Now, and we'll get into all of this later in the lessons as well, but person number suffix is right here. This ending lets you know how many and what person. The stem gives you the lexical form and things like that. Voice. Who is doing the action? Who is doing the action? So you got active and middle passive. Active, the subject does the action. So the subject does the action. Passive, the action is done to the subject. Joe hit the ball. Joe was hit by the ball. Passive. Middle, the middle voice is the subject does something in his own interest. So he does it, but for his benefit, like a boomerang effect. Like a boomerang. He does it his own self-interest. So again, active highlights the action of the verb, whereas passive and middle voice highlights the grammatical subject. It's done to that person or by that person. So with the middle, it's all about self-interest, self-initiative, self-determination, self-interest, self-benefit. That's the middle voice. It deals with self. It deals with self. Now, when dealing with tense, we have to understand this is important because tense Yes, Greek verbs deal with time and aspect. Time and aspect. But with the Greek verb, aspect is most important. Time is important, but it's not. We want to know what kind of action. The verbal aspect or the action art. The verbal aspect is what's important when you're dealing with a Greek verb. So with your tenses, you're going to have, present tense, future tense, imperfect, aorist, perfect, pluperfect. You can look at those. Aspect, how the action is accomplished in the mind of the writer. What's the portrayal of the action in terms of its progress? That's what's important with the kind of action in the Greek verb. So you're dealing with verbal action, or another term, action art. Action art. Now, there's three with the imperfective or the process. This deals with your present tense and your imperfect tense. So this is an ongoing action, progressive, right now, habitual, continuous action. Aoristic is like a fuzzy dot. It just deals with as a whole. So you will hear it called holistic aspect as well. It looks at it from from its entirety, and it doesn't really comment on the process or the abiding results. Just the whole action. It's a summary. Perfective aspect or stative aspect deals with the results from that. So something happened back here, and it's going to deal with the state that is caused by that action, the right now state. So that's the stative aspect of it. Something happened, but we're concerned about what is the results of this action. So just some more terms you might hear. Simple, undefined, punctiliar. Again, this is the aoristic aspect. So this deals with the aorist and the future tense. Continuous or durative. This is that ongoing action, the right now, habitual action. And then completed or culminated. This deals with the state, the results of that. So, summarizing, wrapping things up here. Tense in Greek is determined by the writer's portrayal of the action with regard to aspect and in the indicative mood to time. So I just wanted to see, anybody got any questions so far? Yeah. So when we look at this again from the author's perspective, so if we look at Matthew, let's see, Matthew 14:9. Hang on, let's do this. Let's share a screen. Oh, it's going to take my Logos a chance, some time to get up there. But so if we look at Matthew, there the author wanted to portray something. So if we look at Matthew, let's go to Matthew 14. Verse 19. Matthew 14:19. And we're going to see we're going to look at the same account from two different authors and how they chose to portray the action. So Matthew 14:19. And ordering the crowds to sit down on the grass, he, Jesus, took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up toward heaven, he blessed the food, and breaking the loaves, he gave. So here's your verb that we're looking at. He gave. He gave. This is an aorist active indicative. So over here, edoken. By using this tense, Matthew is just saying, hey, Jesus gave it to the disciples. Boom, they fed the people. He's giving it from a holistic aspect. He didn't care about the results or how they did it. He is just saying, Matthew is just showing Jesus gave the bread and the fish to the disciples. Now, same story, different author. Let's look at Mark. Mark chapter 6, verse 41. Mark chapter 6, verse 41. And he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looking up toward heaven, and ablepas, up toward the heavens. He blessed the food and broke the loaves. And here is our Greek verb over here. Probably can't really see it. Edudu. Didu. He gave. And then because of the aspect of this tense, imperfect tense, he kept giving them to the disciples. So Matthew shows he broke it, he gave it to them. Mark, from a different perspective, is showing it as it unfolds. Mark is showing every time he broke it, it just kept multiplying. He just kept giving it to them, breaking and giving it to them. It's like it happened in their hands. Once he gave it to them, it started multiplying and things like that. So that's kind of an example of the different tenses and how the aspect is shown there. Another good example. Let me see. It's in Matthew. Matthew, give me a second. So Matthew chapter 8. Greek is so amazing. You can see things you don't really see in the English translations. So Matthew 8, 20, 23. We'll start at 23. And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a megas semas, a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being covered. So there's a passive. The boat didn't cover itself. The picture is the boat is just being blanketed by the waves. Jesus is asleep. The waves are just pounding the boat. And they, verse 25, and the disciples came up to him and got him up. They arose him from the sleep. They got him up, saying, "Save us." Over here, your Greek word there is soson. Soson. An aorist imperative, urgency. They're screaming out, "Lord, save us." Urgency. Why? We are perishing. Here, Matthew uses apolumetha. This is a passive. And it's showing from their perspective, they're like, save us because we are drowning, we are perishing right now as we speak. So the action that you see unfolding here is amazing because it's present tense, so it's ongoing. Hey, Jesus, we drowning. These waves are throwing water on us. We drowning. We can't catch our breaths. Save us. So that's just an example of the beauty that Greek can bring out when you're reading this. All right. So that was just a brief lesson on the verbal system of the Greek. We're going to touch more onto it when we delve into the verbs. I just wanted to get this into your mind, into your thinking. Continue to learn the alphabet, but we're starting to get into some. We're going to jump right into it. So get that alphabet down. Look over the notes and the slides and things like that. All right. So this is Rev C saying, God bless you, God keep you. Hey, thank you, sis. Grace and peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you guys are interested, I'm gonna put the link again in this video to the Facebook group and to the Google Classroom group as well. So you guys can jump in there and learn Greek with us. Share this video, share it, get it out there on YouTube, comment in the comment section. And again, as always, if you feel led to drop $1 or $2 there to support the ministry, it'd be greatly appreciated. God bless you. God keep you. This is Rev C saying see you in the next video.